light's red. It tells me I'm on. Should I go get my phone and look at YouTube?
It's on. No.
Well, thanks for being with us through a little bit of technical difficulty here. We've got this wonderful piece of technology that we got during the pandemic to be able to do worship services. It's called a Mevo camera, and it's run by a tablet. And the problem is we don't use it all that often because we've got the big camera up in the balcony for worship on Sunday, and my phone's good enough to do daily devotions. So this only gets brought out a few times a year, and we always have to go through a little bit of a rough start. It's kind of like starting an old engine in the cold. It takes a little bit to make sure that we've got all the buttons pushed, the I's dotted, and the T's crossed. So welcome on this St. Nicholas Day. I know, it's a day where in some places they put food and candy and fruit in shoes. Some places they ignore it completely. But let's talk a little bit about St. Nicholas on this St. Nicholas Day. St. Nicholas punched a heretic at an ecumenical conference. The man's name was Arius. He created a divergent sect of the Christian faith that denied that Jesus was fully human and fully God. And I guess it got pretty heated, and St. Nicholas stood up in the middle of an ecumenical council and punched a fellow bishop. So coal in the stocking is a pretty mild thing for bad, little, and big boys and girls, because St. Nicholas could come down the chimney and punch you in the face. So I guess we're going to be thankful that it's just a lump of coal in our stockings when St. Nicholas finds that you're on the naughty list. So yesterday we talked about what it is like to drive, to live, and to work in the fog. And the three things that we can do to help us compensate when we're having to walk in the fog, drive in the fog, live in the fog. I want to talk today about coming out of the fog. So when I grew up in West Virginia, fog was a very different animal. It gets really foggy here, and we know it gets foggy in the fall, and we know why it gets foggy in the fall, because corn creates its own humidity, because corn needs humidity to grow, and when you get a cool morning and a bunch of humid air, you get fog. Well, where I grew up was a little different because it was river fog, so it was very isolated down by the river, and I grew up right on the Ohio, and it would be very dense fog for about a mile either side of the river, and then there was nothing. When I used to go visit Nicole down in College in Roanoke, there were times I would drive through the mountains of West Virginia that you would drive through this fog. You just got thicker and thicker as you went up the mountain, and then you would pop out of it, and you would be in beautiful blue skies and sunshine, and then when you come back down the other side of the mountain, you go back into the fog. So what I'm saying, and why I'm saying it, is I want to tell you a story. Wednesdays are about stories. A few weeks ago, I was heading up to Detroit for a hockey game. This isn't to do with the fog. This is what so often happens after the fog. Driving up to a hockey game, I get on 75 around the Luna Pier exit, so around exit 6 up in Michigan, and all three lanes of 75 are a dead stop. We did not move for probably 15 minutes. And then you know how we slowly trickle on and trickle on and trickle on. And finally, at about about 2 miles, 2-3 miles down the road, suddenly the stoppage was over. Now, what happened after the stoppage is I'm starting to get a little stressed because I know what time the puck drops and I know what time I need to be in the parking lot so that I can get in the door so I can get to my seat. So I'm getting a little stressed. And the fascinating thing was we came out of the construction area and all the traffic kind of mellowed out, except it didn't mellow out. The right lane was doing about 77, 78 miles an hour. The center lane was doing 85, and the right lane was doing 95. So if you went in the right lane, or the left lane was doing 95, if you went in the left lane to pass, you were doing 95 and you weren't catching anybody. It was absolutely wild. We sat in complete stop for 15 minutes, just following the flow of traffic after the construction I was thinking I'm going to be 15 minutes late, 20 minutes late, because traffic's going to get worse once I get closer to the city. It's going to get worse when I get close to my parking lot. It's going to be 20, 25 minutes late. I walked into the arena 5 minutes after what I normally do. So in that last 40 miles from the construction to exit 50 where I get off at Grand River, we made up about 5 minutes. That's what often happens to us when we go through the fog of grief, or the fog of trauma, or the fog of being overwhelmed. The minute we come out of it, we think that it's time to put our foot on the accelerator and race away. I'm not sure that's the healthiest thing. I know it wasn't all that safe on the highway, but by then I was agitated and was just glad to be out of the construction. But as I reflect on that, I do the same thing with my own mental health. I do the same thing with my own emotional health. I get out of the fog, and I think it's time to go full speed again. I haven't been going full speed for 3 miles, for 20 miles, for 20 days, whatever the time. And I think that the minute I'm done, I need to put the pedal to the floor and make up for lost time. It's probably not the safest thing to do. There are times that we just need to ease ourselves along. There are times that we just need to slowly accelerate. There are times where we don't need to be so worried about what we missed, that we miss where we're at. I'll say that again. Hi, Guinness, thanks for walking through. There are times that we get so worried about what we missed that we miss where we're at. So, it's St. Nicholas Day. It's the season of crazy and busy. Soup suppers start here tonight. Come join us. It'll be a good time. Golden Evening Prayer is tonight. Come join us. It'll be a good time. If you can't join us there, in person, join us here. It'll be a good time. But the thing is that on this St. Nicholas Day, as we start thinking about what it is like to be in the midst of the crazy and silly season, what are you doing, dog? You don't button the tree at home. When we're in the crazy and silly season around us, the temptation is to try to do too much, to try to do too fast, especially if we're coming out of some sort of fog. Sometimes it's good just to be where you're at, to pop out of the fog and to see that the sun still goes up and the sun still goes down, that the sky isn't always gray, sometimes it's blue, and that things just feel a little different outside the fog. Doesn't mean we stop and stay in the midst of the fog. It doesn't mean that we get outside of the fog and say, we're done, we're not doing anything. But it means that just maybe the best thing for us, the safest thing for us, is to accelerate a little more slowly, to get where we're going, to enjoy where we're at, and not be so stressed about what we missed. Y'all be good. It is a gray day here in Northwest Ohio. It has been a gray day and a rainy day for about the last 75 days, I think. I can't remember the last time I saw the sun, but when it comes out again, I'm hearing probably tomorrow. It's going to be a little drier, and the sun's going to come back out. I'm going to take a minute to stand in the sun, to enjoy where we're at, and to remind myself that the sky is still blue. You all be good. Take care of yourselves. Check on your neighbors. Check on your friends that are really stressed this time of year. And remember that God loves you. So do I.